Hi, my name is Eniola. Welcome to another session. In this session, we are going to be looking at survival analysis. So survival analysis is a special kind of model that we build in machine learning. So why do I call it special? It is special in the sense that it has two target value. So if you are conversant with machine learning model, we build model usually with one target value. But in survival model, we used to have two target value. So we are going to be looking at the events, and we are going to be looking at the time to event. So the event can be, let's say, death. Then we look at the time to death. So we take into consideration two target values. So this is actually going to be in series. We are going to be looking at survival analysis first. Then we are going to be looking at a very special topic in survival analysis called censoring, because the data are always censored. So we are going to be looking at how to use censored data. Then we are going to be looking at how to build survival model with PySurvival. That's a Python library, PySurvival. Then we are going to look at how to deploy survival model. So let's just get to it. So what is survival analysis? Survival analysis is a statistical method for studying time to event. So we want to study the time to an event of a particular scenario. Let's say we want to study the time to event of, let's say, death. So the term survival is actually used most time with the event of interest, death, but we can use it in every other area. You can use it in the business world. Let's say you want to know when whether a customer will shun or not. That's the event. So we are going to be taking into account not only the event which is shown, we are going to be taking into account the time to event, which is time to shun. So let's just move. So we have other alternative terminology to survival analysis. We have time series analysis, we have event analysis, then we have reliability analysis. So reliability engineering is actually a subdomain of system engineering, whereby we take into account machines, like the effect of machines. So reliability analysis is just actually taking into account like the time to failure of a machine. So let's look at the objective of survival analysis, like why survival analysis actually. Survival analysis is actually used to estimate time to events of a group of individuals. So an example here is, let's say we want to estimate the time until second heart attack for a group of MI patients. So MI is a special type of heart attack, like when there is no oxygen in the heart. So we want to estimate the time to event of a particular group of individuals. So we can use survival analysis for that. They want to assess the relationship of covariables to time to event. So we want to see the factors that play into account in that particular area. So in this case, we want to estimate the time to heart attack for a group of MI patients. So we are going to be looking at different covariables like weight, insulin resistance, cholesterol. So we want to see which one actually influences the time to survival of that particular patient. Then let's just look at some scenarios. So we can use survival analysis in different areas. So we are just going to be looking at very quick scenarios. So we want to see how long will a patient survive given pre-existing medical condition and certain treatment. So we can build survival models to help to tell us how long a patient will survive. Then the second one, we can see how long before a customer makes a purchase given their suffering history. So we want to use survival model to tell us the time to event of when a customer will make purchase based on their histories. Then also how long a device fails given the device characteristics. Also we can build survival model for this. Then you ask me, why survival model? Why can't I just build a normal model? Why must I use a survival model? We are going to actually get to that. I have a slide that we're going to look into account why survival model are actually the best for this kind of model, for this kind of topic. So how long before a student drop out given their family history, grades and locality? Let's look at, okay, we have 3 more here. Then how long a person lives after surgery? How long a person in remission from leukemia until relapse? Then finally, how long a woman undergoing fertility treatment takes to get pregnant? So all these are time to events. Survival analysis is actually the best model to take into account all these things and give a very good accuracy. So let's look at some of the most important terms in survival analysis. So I talked about censoring in the introductory slide. So censoring is actually one of the most important terms in survival analysis. Then also time to event, the time from entry into a study until a subject has a particular outcome. So let's say the outcome is death. So like let's say we take a group of individuals for study from 2014 to let's say 2020 and the outcome is death. So let's say we just want to study the time it takes for them to survive or not to survive. So from 2014 will be the time they enter the study. Then we know 2020 is when we end the study. Then censoring occurs when we don't know the exact time to event for an included observation. So censoring is actually a problem in data. So the survival model actually take into account censored data. So censored data actually survival model take into account censored data. So like if we have a censored data, the best kind of model to use is survival models. So why these special methods? Like why do I have to use survival model when I can just easily pick up CatBoost and just build an algorithm, or pick up logistic regression and just simply classify whether a patient have cancer or not? So the one of the most important attribute of survival models, because they can undo time dependent covariates, that is, they can undo events that depends on time. So like let's give an example here now. So let's say the want to see when a patient want to like detect if a patient will survive cancer or not, that's if the patient will die or not. So apart from that, like there are several factors that we have to take in place, some other like independent variable and the time. So like because of the time to event of that particular problem, like survival model will actually take into account that scenario. So instead of using, so logistic regression can actually predict the presence or absence of the event, but not time until event. So survival model will actually predict both the presence and absence and the time to event, like it takes into account the time to event. Then linear regression, okay, why can't I just use linear regression instead? So linear regression cannot undo censoring well, or time dependent covariate, or the fact that time can only be positive. Yeah, so linear regression cannot undo this. So that is why survival model is actually the best in this kind of scenario. So we have inputs to survival model. We actually have 3 inputs, on like normal machine learning model where we just have 2 inputs, which we have the event and we have like the covariate. Here we have 3 inputs. We have the covariate, which are the features, so area, mobile device, depending on the problem. Then we have T, which is the time to event. Then we have E, which is the actual event. Then we are just going to look at some of the open source Python libraries for survival analysis. So we have Lifeline, we have Scikit-Survival, then we have PySurvival. So in this series, actually, we are going to be seeing how to use PySurvival to build survival models. Yeah, thank you. That is the end of this session.